times this is recorded, what happens to those recordings. Let's cut them out.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to the Counter-Strike Casuals podcast, episode 3. This is the Counter-Strike podcast by Casuals for Casuals, 2 casual players shooting the shit.
We're all casual.
Very casual, indeed. So much so that since we started recording this, we barely play.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't play, we just talk about Counter-Strike. We never play it.
Yeah, I've never felt so involved with the scene, yet not know how to play the game. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Well,
Taking over my life.
as we're recording this, Nip have just taken the second map against 9. You've not got it. You've not got it in the background today, but yeah.
I've not actually. I thought I'd try and save the bandwidth and see if it helped with the recording quality by not playing anything in the background. But I tell you what I've got.
Go on.
No, you say.
I was going to say, we've got quite a lot to talk about actually, because the Blast qualifiers are finished. What were you going to say before I get fully into it? What were you going to say?
You haven't commented yet on the t-shirt.
I was just ignoring it.
We like to remain neutral in this podcast, as you can see. And which does bring us nicely onto the Blast European qualifiers. I was thinking about this. Do we care? Do we care about Asia and America? The Asian America, not as a country or the countries, but from a Counter-Strike standpoint, do we care about them? Because I couldn't give a fuck, and I only ever look at the European results, the European groups. But that's a topic for another day. But yeah, that does bring us nicely onto the European qualifiers. Who's qualified for the last ever Counter-Strike major? For those that are more casual, which I feel like we were as well. Right? We were not until CS2 came out, and we knew that this was going to be the last Counter-Strike global offensive major. There wasn't as much hype. I would not have been as excited about this major as I am now. So this is the last ever one before it goes to Counter-Strike 2. And the qualifiers are over. So what's the news? What's happened, Brly? What's been going on?
Well, I'll do, because we are the casual podcast, and I think nobody's got time. We struggled, and we wanted to kind of do a little report on it, and we struggled keeping up with all the games, mate. It was ridiculous. It was an absolute joke. So I'll quickly run down it. There's 2 stages. Am I right? There's 2 stages. There's the Legend and the Challenger stage.
Yep.
For the
I feel like you're going to educate me. So you go.
So the Legend stage, you've got Navi, 9, Furia, Fnatic, Heroic, Into the Breach, Vitality, Bad News Eagles. Most of those boys are pretty well known. 9 and Into the Breach, they're the underdogs, and they're in the Legend stage. Into the Breach, we spoke about previously. Was it the first or second episode?
Yes, last episode. So Into the Breach, the all UK team. Shout out you to the Breach, and shout out Thomas, their in-game leader, because I heard him on the latest podcast of HLTV.
Yeah, legends, mate. Doing it for the boys.
Laid back, ambitious guy though. Like, honestly, well done.
Did you see him against Navi?
I didn't watch the game,
mate. Into the Breach, gave it to Navi. We mentioned how well Navi are playing at the minute. They are hot. They look like on it. They look really good. They're firing on all cylinders, and Into the Breach took it to them, mate. So I'm really looking forward to see what they can do. Realistically, I don't think they're going to make any noise. If you are an underdog supporter, go for it. But I would say 9 have more chance of doing some damage. 9 have been making some noise past couple of weeks. So then we've got the Challenger stage. We've got 16 teams. Your beloved FaZe got through by the skin of the teeth. We're going to go into how they got through. But quickly, I'll just run through just some of the teams. We've got the Mongols. They're looking pretty good. Complexity. Greyhound, I really like Greyhound. I think they've got some really interesting tactics. They've got great mid-round calls. They know what they're doing. They're switched on. It's just whether they have the talent or not to actually do any damage. I don't know. Liquid, Mouse, Ents, OG, Nip, Apex, yeah, G2, Pain. There's a few more, but they're some of the more well-known names.
Yep.
Um,
The ones that are missing, so the massive news, who's not at the major, which is Astralis, which is just mental.
yeah, crazy. And was it today we just found out that Zipex is leaving the main team.
Zipex is out. Zipex is
Yeah,
out. He's been with them since the start. He was one of the founding guys, right? I think.
yeah, he was one of the founding guys in 2016 when they first started, and he was one of the main boys that made them get as big as they are, or as big as they were, maybe.
So they've kicked
Um,
Zipex out, who is so funny because I'm about to say who's old and washed up, but he's 27, so that's depressing. And
yeah,
they've brought in Altekz, who is like a
so
19 year
they've
old.
done a switch. We're saying, oh, they've kicked him out. They've put him on the talents team, the Astralis talents that have been smashing it recently. They've been doing really well. As casuals don't have a chance to keep up with all the talent teams, but they've been smashing it, and he's been playing really well. I'm pretty sure he's a rifler. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure he's a rifler,
I assume
and
so if
he's
he's because Zipex was a rifler, was he?
yeah, they've got device, haven't they? So they wouldn't
Yeah,
need
device is just opening up.
anyone open. But he's been smashing it. He has been on their roster for 2 years, but recently he's been performing. He's been playing better. His rating is 1.15 over the last 3 months. They've been winning quite a few tournaments as well. He's only 19, so he's potentially got quite a few years left in him, and
Yep.
he's still got room for improvement. And I think Astralis now they've missed the last two majors, and they're not the teams that should be missing a major. And I think they're just saying, right, what can we do? And a lot of people have been saying they need to change the roster up massively.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
I think I don't think Altekz is gonna make too much noise, but I hope he does. I hope he proves me wrong. I like Astralis. They're a good team.
Mate, they've got
They're
Blame
good
F.
boys.
I watched some of their games.
Blame
Blame
F's a
F,
beast.
beast, kills people for fun. You got Device that just can still do what he needs to do. Buzz, I don't know. I just heard loads of people like taking a piss out of Buzz.
I think Buzzy's playing okay.
Yeah, but I don't know too much about how he's been playing. But I know Blame F's taken heads wherever I've seen him and Device. So yeah, bringing in this young blood might help. I just feel like at the moment, in a weird way, we've got this major. CS2 is going to be out in summer. We're in April now. This could be a completely different game. I know it's not going to be a completely different game, but when you get to this level of, for us guys, it's not going to be a different game. I imagine we're still
Yeah.
going to be similar ranks, still going to be doing the same silly things, messing up and whatever. When you get to this level, there might be some big changes in who's actually going to be good or
Yeah.
clicking. So it's a good time actually for them to just
Yeah, we
shake it
kind
up.
of touched on it the other week. Like, what's going to happen? The minute difference makes the world of difference
Yep.
with these guys. You change one little thing and it can change a lot for them because they're so used to it. They've put thousands and thousands of hours into this game.
To one thing. Yep.
It's the tiniest little details can make a difference. But I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. You're still going to have some of the top teams up there, but it's a good opportunity for the underdogs, the less known teams to come on and mix things up a bit, throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah. Well, it's a good time to reset for Astralis. I think they need it. You can't
And
go.
what else? What? They've got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They've literally got nothing to lose because they've not made the last two majors, like I just said, and this guy's been on their roster, their talent team for 2 years, Altekz,
It's not
and
like they've. Yeah.
there's no, it's not working. I personally think maybe they need to look. It pains me to say it, but look for a new IGL.
I was
I
about to
feel like
say. Yeah.
Glaves maybe ran his course. But who knows? I hope they can come back because I do like them.
There's
They
always a
seem like
feeling of
a
nostalgia,
decent
isn't there,
team.
with them and the old Astralis boys? I
Yeah.
said it last time. with the guys that have gone to Vitality, there's always that element of like nostalgia. You want them to do well,
Yeah.
just because they're so dominant.
Yeah, like I think I spoke to you about this a while back, not on the podcast, just when we were chatting. They kind of, I feel like, changed the game
Yep.
a little bit. They changed CS and made it a little bit more tactical, made the utility a bit more prevalent, and since then, everyone was like, "Oh shit, we can do this too." And everyone started playing a bit more tactically, started thinking about, you know, uh, strategically rather than, running and gunning.
Yep.
Uh,
So they're out. So they're the one of the big losses. The other ones that were out, a podcast favorite, Big. Big didn't make it, and why they're a podcast
oh,
favorite, although we're a young podcast, they had some social media interaction with us, which immediately catapulted them up
yeah,
the
that
standings in the Counter Strike Casuals podcast.
yeah, we're not complicated. Just literally, just
if,
like a post. Just
if you like one of our
literally give us any
posts,
attention at all, and we will be super fans.
yeah,
I'm surprised you've not got a big T-shirt on. To be
yeah,
fair.
it's in the post. It's not arrived yet. It's not arrived yet, but the big merch will be coming because we want Big to do well. Actually, I think they've been performing okay at Rio, but we'll get into Rio. But yeah, so Big are out, which is a shame. Won't see them at the major, and then obviously Cloud9 are out, which we're going to come on to why.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, the mad news is actually surely it's just Into the Breach still. We're just going to go over that, but fair play to them. Um,
yeah.
we're
Well, I
gonna
think
we're
I
gonna be
think
rooting for them, aren't we? As well.
yeah. It's still all up in the air. There's no one. There's no certain team. Like we were both saying last week that we thought Navi are the clear favourites, but
Yeah, I'm not sure anymore as well after seeing how
mm,
things are happening at Rio as well. But who knows?
we'll
We'll
see.
see.
I feel like they
I put
want it at a minute. They're
I
they
did
they're
put
really hungry.
I did put my money where my mouth is, and I put a fiver on Navi to win that major, as I said last week with my ongoing betting
Oh,
uh,
nice.
podcast pool. So we'll see. I don't think it returns that much. I think they're one of the
Yeah.
favourites, obviously. So we'll see. Um, so
Did you have many bets on this week?
I did have a couple of bets on this week actually, and
Go on, let's get
interestingly,
into that. Why not?
all right, quickly, I'll tell you what accumulator I had on, which didn't. So we're talking about Rio though here. This is the problem. So this is oh, I might not be able to remember my password to tell you exactly what's going on here.
Okay. Well, while you're sorting that out, and before we segue over to Rio,
Yeah, let's not talk
I'll,
about Rio.
I, we're going to do a little segment. So just a little sneak peek behind the curtains of the podcast. I've been thinking we need a little segment, and then a good friend of ours who I trust his opinion, Flu Dot, shout out to Flu Dot. He was saying, "Oh, I feel like you need a segment," and I was like, "Yep, exactly what I've been saying, mate." So I feel like we need to a game breakdown would be a good idea. So I've got a name for this as well. Don't
Okay,
know
go
if
on. I
you're gonna
like
like it
this.
or not.
Okay, go on, Tony, hit me.
Braley's breakdown.
Yes, I'm in.
Right.
I love alliteration, so I'm in. Anything with
So
a go on.
so I'll get straight into it. It was last week. I was looking at the games. What we're gonna do. And FaZe Cloud9. It was
There's only
like a
one.
no-brainer. Yeah, it was literally a
Yep.
no-brainer. All the rest were like pretty much through already.
And again,
And
for
you being a big
context,
fan of FaZe,
for
go on.
context, for those, I don't know if I'm patronising our listeners now, but it's the last chance qualifier for the last Counter Strike Go major ever. So it's two massive teams, FaZe third or fourth in the world rankings, Cloud9 third or fourth, whatever they are. They're top 5 teams. They've had majors. They've played many high-level games together against each other. This is their last chance. They both had a shit run in the qualifying groups. Their last chance to qualify for the last ever major in Paris of this game before we switch to Counter-Strike 2. So the stakes are really high. Yeah?
Yeah,
FaZe just come off the back of the Grand Slam. They've made £1 million in winnings, big bucks, and Cloud9 are Cloud9, who are good at choking. um, Brly's Breakdown. Love it. Let's go.
Yeah,
The floor is
so,
yours.
well, Cloud9 are ranked 6th in the world at the minute,
Okay.
and FaZe are 2.
Go on.
They're second. So, um, yeah, you've got the big boys on Cloud9. Well, to be honest, they're all pretty good, but Axile is an absolute beast.
Yep.
Shiro, he's a beast. You've got Nafni, Buster, and Hobbit are also pretty good players. So they started off on Mirage, where C9 were giving it to them big time, and you must have been spewing, mate, because they were getting battered.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Shiro and Exile were just taking heads.
Yeah,
They were dominating. Yeah.
yeah, they've been playing well recently. So FaZe started on the T side. They have been playing pretty bad on T side recently. They've been getting smashed left, right, and centre. They were just making silly mistakes. I think they weren't using utility well. They were just taking one-on-ones.
How did we know that was going to be part of Brely's Breakdown?
Well, they weren't.
Poor utility usage. I mean, the amount of times we've played.
No, mate. Well, yeah, we're not playing on that level, so I'm going to criticize these guys on everything.
Fair enough.
On one round, this is how bad it was. They got denied the bomb plant twice by the same player from CT.
Same position.
On A, yeah, same position.
Right.
They were trying
So
to
they
plant
knew he
it,
was there.
and they weren't covering it. They weren't
Yeah.
covering the bomb plant, and it's just simple, stupid mistakes like that. And I feel like FaZe were getting a little bit carried away with themselves, thinking, "Oh, we're all individually amazing players. We can take heads, just pop round corners. We don't need flashes. We don't need to smoke, angles. We'll just peek the angle and take someone's head off."
Yeah, we'll
Which,
just
to
take
be
the
fair,
battles
sometimes they can do that. So they were getting absolutely killed. They weren't trading kills. It was 11-4 at the half on Mirage. Then I feel like FaZe were starting to get into it. They
Which if
were
you're T on Mirage, I mean personally I find Mirage a hard map as T. You know my struggles with entry and stuff on T for Mirage. I mean 4 rounds is hard work if you're coming back from that, but also at a pro level, is that hard? It must be. I don't know. For me, if you and me were playing on Face It and we've got 4 rounds on T, I'm like, this might not actually be that bad because I find T hard on Mirage. I don't know why. I find it hard. I think it's a
I felt
hard map.
like
I think there's so many angles when you're attacking.
it's difficult, but when you've got the teamwork, we're mainly playing as a duo. We very
Absolutely,
rarely play
that's
as a
true.
5 stack.
There's
These
no
guys might
communication.
as well have been, to be fair.
Yep.
They always leave one guy in mid, which I think is great. I think mid control is great. You know that whenever we're playing, I feel like mid controller is very important. But like I say, they weren't utilizing the utility well at all. They were just trying to take one-on-ones. They weren't trading each other. Like I said, they were just trying to play individual game.
So
Then
11-4 down at half time for FaZe.
yeah, CT side they started to play a little bit better. Still not amazing. They brought it back. It was 15-9 to Cloud, and then FaZe just started smashing them. It just started working. I think Cloud9 probably got a little bit fatigued. They their luck kind of ran out. The timings weren't quite there, and FaZe's skill, individual talent, just took over, and they were just smashing them. So
You say that. I do when I remember watching the highlights and they pushed B fuckloads it felt like. I can't remember. I remember just thinking they're just going B or they'd like try go A a bit and then struggled and went to B. And the funny thing was because I play Carrigan's spot usually. When we play B usually how it works is I end up at apps or
yeah,
short. Not because it's Carrigan, actually, just because I think you just put I don't know why it's the shitter players go B. It feels sometimes
I think
on
it's your
Mirage.
preference, isn't it?
It is my preference, but I think it's because maybe it's easier. Don't know. That could be one for the more
For
hardcore
you,
out there. Yeah, well, but Carrigan was holding B down, which was mental. Geezer was actually holding B, which I don't think he's that good at usually doing or holding any sight. So
Yeah, and I feel like usually he gets I
he
was
gets
watching a
overrun.
game and I felt like he was getting abused on that site, but yeah, so they ended up winning in overtime. Was it? Yeah, obviously it was overtime. They were 15-9
Mm.
down. So yeah, they went to overtime and they ended up winning, which was great. And then I think by this time FaZe had realised, right, boys, we need to pull our fingers out and crack on. And I felt like during Inferno they did that. Cloud9 got the first two rounds. They were playing well. They did a great retake on round 2, and then FaZe started showing up, and it was game over.
Yeah.
Mate, you watched it, didn't you? It was absolutely game
Yeah.
over.
I don't. I mean, Cloud9 just looked like they weren't in the game.
Yeah, so this is and FaZe were on T. If FaZe are
Yeah.
smashing you on T side, you've got no chance. Just log off.
Yep.
Yeah, just rage quit.
Yep.
Yeah, they were doing good mid-round calls, which we expect from Carrigan, and I've been waiting for that, to be honest, for a while, because I know he's your boy, but I just feel like he's not been. I don't know whether he's just not bothered, but he seemed like he wasn't making some good calls, but
In what instance? In what? Where?
it's
Yeah.
just losing silly games, and like I say, not.
Mate, they just come off the Grand Slam win. I mean, they've just been
I think that's what it is. You're right, and I think you're 100% hit the nail on the head, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've gone to
but
the Grand. This is the problem, right? And I'm going to say this, and actually, this is on my show notes. The problem with Counter Strike, right? And one thing I've realised since we started recording this, because we always watched Counter Strike, nowhere near as much as we actually are now. There's so much going on. So FaZe come off the back of a Grand Slam victory where they've like worked their ass off to get the Grand Slam. One of 4 teams, I think it is, to ever do it. The week later, they're thrown into the qualifiers for the last ever Counter Strike major. So loads of pressure, not just them, for everyone, whatever. They go through like fucking loads of games. Like there's so many games in this qualifying. It's mental. Like even now in the Rio thing that's going on, it's like 3 or 4 games a day. It is absurd. Like it's actually mental how much Counter
what
Strike
was
they
the
play.
distance between their game for Blast qualifiers
So they played Saturday this
and
qualify against Cloud9. So they qualified for the last major on Saturday, and they played yesterday, which is Monday. So there was Saturday in Copenhagen playing for their qualification match for the last ever major after just winning the Grand Slam. So loads of pressure, hard work. Then, oh, well done, you're qualified for the last major. Get on the plane, you're going to Rio, Brazil, so Copenhagen to Brazil, and then you play on the Monday. So the Sunday traveling to Brazil, Monday play your first game for the next competition. And the funny thing about this for people that don't understand gaming or whatever, it's like if you said to anyone, right, you're going to go to Copenhagen, do a full day of sightseeing. Let's just call it that, because a full day of games and competition will be that draining. Like you're going to go do all sightseeing all day Saturday. Sunday you're going to go on 12, 13, 14-hour flight, and then on Monday you're going to go do a full day of sightseeing. You go, no, no, I'm going to have a rest actually, or I'm going to take a gap between where I'm meant to be, and I'll fly on the Tuesday maybe, and then I'll go do sightseeing. But no, these guys are actually doing their job. It's not gaming. People are like, oh, it's just gaming. Not really. These, if the likes of Carrigan or Rain's got kids, does he not? Did you
Range just had a baby. Yeah,
right?
he's
So
in
the
the dad
likes of
gang.
right, there you go, big him up, fellow dad gang over here. So the likes of Rain have got to do all that, perform, win, because they're probably thinking, well, I've got to. This is my job. Like that's actually a lot. I feel strongly that it's too much actually for these guys.
Well,
And sorry, just before Cloud9, not even FaZe, played 8 games in 5 days for the up to the last chance qualifier, and then they lost against FaZe. So the 8 games in 5 days. Um, no wonder they fucking lost. But they're probably just done by then. Do it like fuck me. Like we got to go again against second in the world who just won the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Mental.
And it's like we were talking about with the minute differences earlier with CS2. The minute differences in this game are so small. I mean, if you've got to be 100% switched on, and this is kind of the point I wanted to push home with this game, C9 versus FaZe, the qualifiers. FaZe haven't been performing, and I feel like it's not because they haven't gotten a great in-game leader, because they clearly do. It's not because they haven't got the talent, because they clearly do. I personally think it's just that want to win. They're a little bit in the clouds at the minute because they've just got the Grand Slam, and I feel like they're super hyped, and they might not be as focused. And you need to be so switched on with this game. Your reactions need to be pinpoint, accurate. You need to be on it. And if the slightest thing, flight, jet lag, not getting a good night's sleep the night before, or any little detail can make a huge difference. And I think this showed on Inferno because they come out guns blazing. They were flawless, pretty much after a few rounds in, and it's like, yeah, we've warmed up, and you could see they were hyped. All of them. Twist was shouting shit. Carrigan was shouting shit. They were proper hyped, and then Twist got an ace in round 7. Which we wanted to actually get the footage on, but
we did. We wanted it to be our clip of the week.
Yeah, we might try and sort that
I'll
out
link it
in
YouTube,
the future.
Maybe.
Yeah, but unreal, mate. That Rops was checking his corners as he does. I love Rops is one of my favourite players just because of how patient he is. He checks every corner. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating, the simple type guys that are a bit more aggressive are a bit more entertaining, but Robs, his fundamentals are just great, and he's just a great player to watch. He clears corners, his reactions are so fast. Although I do say this about Robs. Did you see the round where he was in connector and Shiro, there was a smoking connector, Shiro just walked right past him, and he didn't see him, and they didn't see each other. And then that basically cost him a round, I think.
That might be the old 4x3. It might be the old stretch.
Yeah, maybe.
You should be on 16 by an iron, so you'll see people. You see your angles then. I did see that. That was funny. And they both just walked past it. Who got... No, Rops rotated to B, I think.
And he ended up going to B. Yeah, and Shiro, I think he flanked them. Yeah, he flanked them. Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, is that Brly's breakdown?
Yeah, that was it, mate. I think to summarise, FaZe got back to their old ways, and they showed their experience. They were disciplined. They stayed calm when they needed to. They brought it back. Rain even played well, and they proved why they are number 2 in the world. They're a great squad. I just hope for you more than anyone that they can stay on it. If they're on it and they want to win this major, they could do it. They've got the roster for it. They're all...
Well, I've technically got money on Navi now.
So yeah, well, yeah, but it's a win-win, isn't it? Like if it was a FaZe Navi final, but
that'd be good.
I can't see it. FaZe haven't performed well. I think Cassard was saying on the other podcast that we listened to, Hotpoint, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
He was saying FaZe don't deserve to be in it. Yeah, it's a good podcast. They can watch it after they've finished here. They can watch it. Just make sure you finish this one first.
All our viewers, all our listeners that are hardcore.
But yeah, you've got to listen to foreign at the same time, so
Yeah.
Say no more.
Have a coffee.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So Brly's breakdown.
So yeah, that's it. So yeah, I hope to it'll be back next week, and we'll be talking about Rio, maybe some of the games that are going on tonight. So what have we got going on tonight?
Well, before we go on that quickly, I do want to say what also came out of the RMRs, the Blast qualifications, was this tweet from this geezer that plays for. I got to talk about it.
Oh yeah. Bring it up,
I'll tell
definitely.
you why I got to talk about it because it's fucking mental. This I don't know if I can pronounce his name. Lobanchika.
Oh
He
yeah.
plays for a Saudi Arabian or Asian team. And also what made me laugh is Nico from G2 responded to it. Fucking it killed me. And basically what he did was he tweeted saying the worst CS:GO major ever, my experience, and then he tweeted like a long list of reasons why it was a shambles. Which interestingly, I've been hearing loads of murmurs or like on all these other podcasts, the more pro ones, about all the issues that have been going on at RMR and at this RMR, and it does sound like it was like proper botch job situation. The guy was saying that like some of the coaches didn't have working PCs, that they had like packet loss on the PCs, that fucking fans were like finding their rooms, knocking on, coming into their rooms. Um, he also claimed that there was reports that someone wanted to stab him, which I was reading. I was like, mate, that's like a police matter. You just go on Twitter and be like, I was being threatened to get stabbed at a qualification
Yeah,
for a
I
Counter
think
Strike tournament.
the way I read it was not that he heard that someone was going to stab him, or
Yeah, yeah.
someone had said that to him. Is that the security
He shouldn't
team
laugh.
told
I'm
him
not.
that? Yeah, the security team told him that someone wanted to, but he's not like it's the first. Well, Nico tweeted them saying,
Nico
"First time
responded.
you play tier one event and you cry already." So he's obviously not like one of the big boys.
Well, they
But
didn't qualify.
I don't think after this Nico replied anything else, because obviously that got a lot of response after Nico said that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But he didn't say anything else after that one comment, did he?
Nico didn't. I didn't.
No, he
Matey
probably
did.
saw the size of the guy and thought, "Fuck that," because the guy is huge. It's an actual joke. I saw the picture and his profile picture, and I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Like he edited his photo onto a picture of somebody, because it does look like a joke. The guy is huge. Yeah, he's an absolute beast.
The guy goes to the gym and he's 100% natural.
Yeah, he's 100% bullshit. But yeah, he's a huge guy, and yeah, I'm surprised he can click so fast. He's not
Not
he's
fast enough, I don't think. But
yeah,
anyway,
he's a tank. He's muscly. He's not like fat. I'm not calling him fat. For those that don't know what he looks like.
look him up.
Um,
He's fucking
yeah,
natural gym head.
Labanja.
Right. Anyway, moving on. Um. So that brings us very nicely on to Diz Brly trying to play like pros. Last week we mentioned about me changing back to 4x3 from 16x9. I just want to quickly give you an update on that situation. After the podcast, me and Brly went and played just some chilled rank games. Turns out Brly already had 4x3 set up. He was a lying try hard. He was always
Yeah,
trying hard. Just didn't realise. Just don't know if that makes it worse. You just didn't know you were trying hard and
yeah.
performing. Anyway, I took it to Reddit because I just wanted to get a feel on like the casual community and who is actually still using 4x3, or is it just like only the pros and the rest of us just give up? We want it to look a bit nicer. I've got some stats. I actually ended up on like 30 comments. It was like 29, 30 comments. And I've got some percentages. This is how my day at work's been going. 44% said 4x3, 33% said 16x9, 23% were made up of like other people saying some weird shit like 16x10 widescreen,
Trolls.
21x9, weird resolutions and setups. So I've stuck to 4x3, and that's what we're going to go with. I'm going full simple, and I've updated all my settings to reflect his because I'm a tryhard.
You playing
Um,
stretched?
yeah, I'm playing the full shebang, stretched, everything 4x3, stretch everything very low. It looks like shit.
Mate, it looks like we're going to have to change the name of the podcast if you carry on with all these settings.
Man, I just want to rank up, but we don't play anyway. It's just irrelevant. All of this chat's irrelevant. We don't play. We're just now watching.
Yeah, we don't even know what we're talking about.
No. Anyway, so moving on to the next event because it's a new day. It's a new Counter-Strike event.
Yeah, we are.
No rest for the wicked.
We're spoiled at the minute, to be honest. We are absolutely spoiled with the amount of Counter-Strike that's going on.
Yeah, my wife, Mrs. Diz, said yesterday, had it on and she went, "Is this Counter-Strike then?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What have you been? I've been watching it on my phone or whatever for ages, but I put it on the TV again, and she's like, "Is this what it is?" Then I'm like, "I've had it on as well when she's been in the room." Anyway, so we're at Rio now, the Rio IEM, which started yesterday, Monday. Interestingly, before even we got there, Virtus Pro outsiders can't quite keep up with what they're called. They were Virtus Pro. Then when everything went on in the world, they changed to outsiders. Now they're Virtus Pro again. But a lot of the pros and commentators still call them outsiders, so it's hard to track. They decided to just not attend. They just said that we're not going to attend. They put out a tweet saying, "We believe that in the current shape, participation in the tournament will not bring satisfaction to either the team or the fans. Therefore, we're committing to enhanced training." So they're not they didn't qualify as well for the major. So the RMRs we were just talking about, they didn't qualify for. Unless I'm completely fucking mistaken. Don't think
No,
they did.
they didn't. No, you're right.
Right.
I think that's what led to this.
So they didn't qualify for that, and then they're going to put out the next Counter-Strike tournament. It's mental to me. I mean, it's like,
I think
what are you playing for?
the
Anyway,
prize
the
fund
game,
isn't huge in this one, and I think they realised they weren't going to do well. They probably spending quite a bit of money getting the teams over there, and just probably just took their losses and just were like, yeah, we're not going to do well. Let's just drop out.
but they won this
Possibly.
last time. They're the defending champions for this.
Yeah, but
But that's just weird. It's weird as well that like with the change coming up to Counter Strike 2. Actually, we talked about it last week, didn't we? Have some teams got their eyes already on that? Maybe these guys have. They just think, fuck it, we can't be asked. Anyway, so they're not there. They've allowed it. I
it
think
seems to me that it's
G2 as well. I
more.
think actually weren't, but that makes sense because they're going to go to a major and probably try and win it. So I get that. They're thinking, why
What,
would
they're not
we?
in Rio?
I don't think they're in Rio. I could be
What,
wrong.
they dropped out of the.
No, they just
What?
said they weren't going. I don't think. Have a look now
Yeah,
at the.
it's not a major, is it?
No, it's not
So
a major. It's just a.
I
No,
mean, it's not
G2
a
aren't there.
huge prize pool, so maybe I feel like some of the organisations were just a bit like, no, we're not doing it. We're not funding it.
Yeah.
Let's
So
focus
yeah, but that
on.
makes sense for a G2 that are the best team in the world technically by rankings, and going to go and try and win a major. But Virtus Pro aren't going to go try and win a major. They might as well
Well, it's
try.
like we were just saying, isn't it? Like they're just flying here, there, and everywhere. Like like
It's too
headless
much.
chickens, like just fucking running about like mad. And like I say, it's not that they're putting all the eggs in one basket, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because they didn't. I don't think G2 have been playing too well.
G2 are a
number
weird
one
one for me. I always just don't know. I'm never that excited. I see
I feel like
them.
they've got the roster, but Nico just seems to fall short a lot of the time. They did win the major. Was it this year?
I don't know.
They won a major not too long ago.
I'm going to cash in my Casuals pass. So Rio started.
Do you want to run down
Happened yesterday.
the games yesterday?
I don't mean to go through every game. The only thing that I picked out was that big our team, the Counter Strike Casuals' favourite team now, Big, who we need to actually congratulate. They beat Heroic, which was a good win. 9.
I like Heroic though.
I know. Heroic is just consistent, man. Heroic, I feel like don't fuck up that much. I mean, they lost to Big, but they are our boys.
They're playing tonight at 10 against the Mongols.
Okay, interesting. Which Mongols are the Mongolian team, aren't they? I'm closing the
Yeah.
name, but
Yeah.
um,
They're a good team.
yeah, I think they are good. 9, you mentioned them last podcast.
Yeah,
9 are
9 are
looking
playing
really
Nip
good.
now on the third map on
This is like a
Overpass.
live. This is like Sky Sports
Yeah,
score center for Counter Strike.
it is. It's 7-2 to Nip on
News just in.
Overpass.
Okay, good. Big and Navi have actually already qualified for the next little bit of the Rio, but again, I'm lost. I don't know how these fucking tournaments work because they're so complicated. There's so many games. Mental. Uh, If if a professional Counter Strike player can't understand these tournaments, how are we as casuals meant to understand? The guy from Into the Breach, Thomas, their in-game leader, I'm gonna shout him out again. British geezer. In a podcast recently, I think he said, "I didn't understand the system. I just played the next team that were in front of us." So something's going on, man. And again, they just need to simplify it all. All these games in a day, all these brackets and things, and it's so complicated. All the qualifications. When you look back as well at what we just witnessed at the weekend with Cloud9 and FaZe, what is a more exciting prospect or exciting matchup? FaZe versus Cloud9 in a quarterfinal or semi-final of a major, or them in the last chance qualifier for the major. So I just find it weird that we end up with like two of the supposedly best teams in the world battling it out to get into a competition rather than seeing them just in the competition. It just seems fucking hard work, all of it, to like keep up with, work out what's happening, keep up with all the games, but also the qualification and the tiers and the brackets and rant over again. I feel like I just ranted actually tonight on a lot of this podcast.
No, I think you've got a point though, and this half the reason why we set up this podcast, isn't it? Because
Yep.
the
We didn't know
the
what was going on.
competitions and yeah, it can get too complicated. Even like I feel like this tournament, Rio, is fairly straightforward
Yeah, that one is.
compared to like Blast.
Yeah,
Um,
because it's probably a
yeah,
lesser one, so just make it
yeah.
easier.
Well, it definitely is. But how would you do it? Would you just invite the top 10 teams over, and
I don't
then
know. This is definitely a
it is difficult and it is way above our knowledge to try and
our pay
figure
grade.
out the best, yeah, to way above our pay grade to figure out how they would do it. But I do feel like there is a much simpler way to figure it all out.
Yeah,
It feels overcomplicated.
it is. It is. But in Rio, so we've already got Big and Navi kind of through to the next bit, which is the qualified to the next section. I don't know what that is. So they play each other, which I kind of assume Navi will just win that, even though Big are putting in some moves. Um, FaZe lost today to Furia, so that's not great. Um, that means FaZe play Vitality next, which is actually, I think, the most exciting game.
Big
Not just because
game.
it's FaZe, I just think that's a fucking cool matchup.
Yeah, that is tomorrow. I'm not sure if the podcast will be out then, but um, yeah,
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see how we go on.
we might have results already by the time the podcast is out. But yeah, that should be a good game.
Yep, OG Cloud9 play. I kind of assume Cloud9 will win that. They'll turn up for that game. So yes, good matches, some good matches, and yeah, we'll see. Um, what else is going on in the Counter Strike world? I saw that they were saying Counter Strike 2, the limited test. Everyone's moaning about the numbers involved. Those that were lucky enough to play Counter Strike 2 in the limited test are saying that there's no matches to be had. So you queue for a game, nothing happens, or you can wait
Yeah,
like
there's
10, 15,
long wait times. Yeah,
long wait times. No one's watching it anymore. Um, Probably time to start letting us in, no?
yeah, definitely. But maybe they want to. It's Valve in it. They do everything slow. Let's they'll probably wait another few months, before they decide to do that. Maybe the people that do have the test, you play it a bit, you test it, but you don't have to be playing it 24/7. Get back on CS:GO for a little bit, jump between the two. But they definitely need to add another map at least, or let some
Or
more
up the
people
player
on.
base, yeah. I
Yeah,
should just.
definitely. Especially I think people like ourselves that have been playing it for such a long time, we might not have the hours on CS:GO as some, but we're consistent people that they play it at least every week and have been playing for years, especially as long as we have.
Mm,
I feel like they should be letting us in. I think someone needs to have a word.
I do think that
Why don't you send one of your famous emails to some of the devs?
I could try. I'm quite persuasive over email. I'd see. Anything else that we want to touch on this week then, or have we given everyone a
Well,
fire shot?
people have so much I think listening and watching to our podcast gives you great insight, and it does help people catch up a little bit. But people have so much to catch up on if they want to get more involved. Head over to HLTV. You can catch all the games are there. But the big ones to look out for, Rio Blast is going to be probably about another month away,
Yep.
maybe a bit less. But yeah, we're going to be doing these weekly anyway, so we can keep you all updated if you don't have time to watch a million games a day.
Yeah, if you can't be asked to do the research, you'll work out
Yeah,
what's going
and
on.
you actually have a normal job where you can't just watch games all day. Yeah, I don't think we can call out any games for people to watch either, because by the time the podcast's out, these guys are done.
Yep.
But hopefully, like Wednesday night, there should be some good games going on. But yeah, keep tuning in.
Yeah. All right, mate. Nice one, everyone. GG.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and thanks for sticking to the end.
Legends. Peace out.
Yes. See ya. Bye bye.